Universal 7, Governance and Management Systems, is proud to present the second part of the Monty Hall and the Law video. Monty Hall, the Cybernetic Approach in the Law, Part 2. How Information Theory Can Help the Law. Universal 7, Governance and Management Systems is proud to present the second part of the Monty Hall and the Law video. There are many people who will solve the Monty Hall problem in this way. With 2 doors left, there is a 50-50 chance to win the car. It does not matter if I stay or switch. So, could the legal system could also be a victim of apparently logical but defective thinking? This is the subject of the second part of this video. Okay, for those who say it's a 50-50 chance, let's provide another tip. Assume that there were 20 closed doors at the beginning, before you made your pick. Monty Hall opens one by one, all but 2 doors. Your original pick with the red check mark, and only one remaining closed door with the blue check mark. Do you still think you have a 50-50 chance, given that your original choice was 1 in 20? Would you change now? Stafford Beer, in his Culpabilis Error paper clearly states that legal and ethical systems appear to be blind to systemic consequences. This includes complex probabilistic problems. I want to show to you how the car and goats example helps us. We must be suspicious of the way legal systems have been solving the problem of catching criminals. The approach has been erroneous. The excuse is the protection of individual rights, but let us not jump into conclusions until I paint the whole picture. Thanks for your patience. Illegal drugs are reaching the streets. Where are they produced, or stashed away? The law is facing many closed doors. Getting a search warrant poses a similar problem to our car and goats example, choosing the correct door, among many. The rules of the game require the legal system not to harass the law-abiding citizen in the search for the dirty criminal. How has the legal system solved the problem of looking behind closed doors up until now? The law has a rule called probable cause, which means
information enough so that there is a reasonable belief that a crime has been committed. Police must have probable cause before arresting a suspect or performing a search. This is the same standard needed to get a search warrant.
Probable cause rules require meeting dozens of legal criteria. A judge may require audio and video recordings, testimony of snitches or undercover cops, proof of unusual activities observed by detectives, copies of the $100 bills used by an undercover cop to buy cocaine from a dealer, and so on. All this in the name of protecting human rights against the invasion of privacy or the nuisance of a search by police. Without the fulfillment of many conditions, a search by police is illegal, and the evidence obtained, no matter how strong, is declared void and unusable in a court of law. The traffickers goes free. That is the way things are now. But let me continue with the demonstration of systemic blindness, which leads to systemic failure. Relate this to Monty Hall and the closed doors example. The law assumes that the probability of criminal activity behind a closed door is 0. This is the legal system's default setting, and that is fine. But in order to reach probable cause for a particular house, things start to go very wrong. A judge, who is far removed from the scene, has to depend and trust the prosecutor asking for the search warrant. The prosecutor in turn depends on the chief of police. The chief must trust the detective in charge of the investigation. The detective depends on the undercover cop, and so on. Every authority level introduces fragility at each link of the chain. Formal criminal procedures have to be followed exactly, or they will be turned down on appeal. Even if evidence of a crime is found during a search, it will be invalidated because the search was illegal. Many rules have evolved to distrust the causal chain, and every recursion level makes the search warrant more and more difficult to obtain. It is extremely difficult to get a search warrant. So where does the police system stand? In shame. The law inadvertently chooses not to switch decisions, as in the car goats example. The law has tons of dispersed information about the illegal activities, but the law does not give itself a chance to get it together in the most efficient manner. Not until the judge sees the 18th door open does he accept that the correct answer to the problem is to switch for his chosen door to the remaining third door, still unopened. This game, however, if we can call it one, is further complicated or messed up. There is empirical evidence to substantiate that the law's complexity has been historically driven by the judges and lawyers' economic self-interest. The reason is simple. Let me put it this way: as the number of rules of the legal system increases, the whole system becomes more complex. Therefore, the computational capacity of judges and lawyers to solve the problem needs to grow accordingly. This regulatory mismatch can be solved, according to Ashby's law, by increasing the variety of the regulator. That means more judges, more lawyers, more prosecutors and policemen. The graph shown clearly describes a fed-forward system. But in this edition, we see that the number of crimes goes up. This creates a reinforcing loop. All shown in red, with plus signs. It has no control loop at all. The only control loop would be the success rate of the searches, which depends on efficiency and timing. Here is the baby blue variable. It is the only control loop in the whole system. As more cases are solved, the number of crimes tends to diminish. However, the enormous lag between a search request and the warrant creates a safety cushion for the drug dealers. A meth lab can be a sanctuary for criminal activity during months. Knowing what we know from the car goat example, what was the key, hidden feature, of the system that many TV guests failed to grasp? It was the pumping of information, done by Monty Hall. When he opens a door with a goat in it, he is giving you valuable information. In the first example, this was not so obvious. However, I really hope it became absolutely obvious in the 20 doors and 19 goats, and only one car, example. In the legal game, legislators and judges should be guided by cybernetic knowledge. A thermostat works in real time to correct the room temperature. There are no complicated steps or any delays. That is how the search and seizure rules should be designed. The suggestion is that the court system should appoint court officials to work shoulder to shoulder with the police. Constitutional police would cut down the lag between knowledge, high probability, and reaction time. To finish with our Monty Hall problem. This is the cybernetic approach solution. How many different outcomes does this problem generate? Look at this graph. There are potentially 18 different outcomes, but they converge on a solution like the one above to reduce them to 6. If you switch, your chances of winning the car improves to 2/3. 1 out of 3 times you will give up the car. But 2 out of 3 times you will get the car. The solution is that switching will let you win twice as often as sticking with the original choice, a result that seems counterintuitive to many. The Monty Hall problem famously embarrassed a large number of mathematicians with doctorate degrees when they attempted to correct Marilyn Vaux Savant's solution in a column in Parade magazine. Okay, back to the search warrant conundrum. What does the law really want? The law wants requisite variety. The law wants as much real-time control as possible, in spite of having to monitor a whole city. Those of us who have learned about emergent complex systems know perfectly well that there is no need of a conspiracy to create a complex system. A system will do things that the individual components do not intend at all, or even cannot possibly understand. We are familiar with the emergent qualities of a community of ants that build ant hills as a systemic product of a few simple rules of behavior. Not many in the legal profession, apparently, are familiar with the fact that a few simple rules can create a whole lot of complexity if the conditions are right, if the interconnections and information loops are exactly right. Well, back to our legal case. We do not need many rules to make a mess of a situation. Small reductionist steps can involuntarily create a monstrous system as the American legal system. There are 2 million people in jail, and perhaps 4 million more who merit being in jail. And at the same time they can be called victims of a poorly designed legal system. But now they are guilty and free from lack of processing capacity. The truth is that the purpose of this system is what it does. The system is structured to generate criminals. The American legal system creates a huge attractor for criminal activity. The right conditions are being mass-produced and fly off constantly in every direction, creating massive variety that cannot be absorbed. With the current legal rules as they are, it is a self-defeating system. Only variety absorbs variety.